Hey peeps, how are we doing? How are we doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. So another mission, okay, mission 500. Today is D for dart, okay? D for dart is the trick that we are covering today, okay? I haven't done dart for ages, so it was really cool to go through to the A to Z library. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. A to Z library and actually have a look at the random moves that are in there. And like, oh my god, I've done that. So this will be a good one. Cool. And something else I have to tell you, right? The other day, do you remember? I don't know if you're new to following, you might not, but about, I don't know, 4 days ago, we did a poll. I think it was on Facebook, it may have been Instagram, I can't remember, maybe both, about who needed help with their inverts, right? Who was stuck or who was good. Well, it turns out there was 70% of you that were still struggling and really needed help with inverting. And I was like, wow, that's a huge amount of people that are stuck with it inverting. And about the other 30% was, said they were fine. So it's like, cool, okay, so 70% of you are struggling with inverts. So what we've done, thank me later, is I've added our Master the Chopper program. So Master the Chopper, we shorten it to MTC. So you might see us often referring it to MTC. We've added that to this month's Mission 500 membership. So for £12 a month, not only do you get over 500 plus tricks of the A to Z, I'm going to give you the MTC training as well. So there's no excuse. You can learn your tricks and master your invert. And I'm really super excited for you to see what you achieve, how quickly you achieve it. Of course, with that training, the more you do, the quicker your results will come. Even if you just follow it once a week, it will come, but it may take a little longer, all right? So yeah, go and check that out. It's www.colepoweracademy.com/mission500, and you'll be able to access that, okay? So, right, let's get stuck into the trick today, dart. So let me show you what dart looks like, and then we can break it down, talk through it, how to do it from the floor, and all sorts of goodness, okay? So, okay? So that is dart. Now, as we sort of warm up and work through this, we'll be able to get a little bit bendier in it. So what we're going to firstly do is understand where our body is placed. So we can do that and understand that just from standing. So from here, we're going to place the legs around the pole and squat down. So we're like in a fireman position. So we're going to place with one calf onto the front of the pole, and then you're going to push the shin behind, okay? And then we're going to squat. So we are keeping the distance of the hips behind the pole. So whichever leg is on the front of the pole, we are going to lean to that side, okay? So as we lean to that side, I'm keeping my butt back, I'm going to take the opposite hand over with me, okay? So again, calf on the front, foot is down, shin behind, drive the butt back, okay? No hips, okay? The pole should be between the knees. Taking the arm over, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze that arm around. So I've got this distance, yeah? Then from here, I'm going to take the front leg off. As I take the leg off, I'm going to take the heel to my butt, I'm going to reach towards the ankle, and then I'm going to lift that leg up as high as you can, and then you can also work on extending that leg, okay? And you can work on this with keeping the hand on to start with, and then if you feel you've got the grip, you can take the hand off, right? So let's have another look at this, but understanding how we need to warm up for it, okay? So we're going to think about that extension. So we are going with the front leg to the opposite arm. So what we can do is we can literally lean forward, grab, bring that knee up, and then try and push that leg. So we can do this without the pole tools, just to help us warm up and understand that position, yeah? So coming forwards, leaning forward, bending one leg, opposite hand's going to grab the ankle. Now I want to drive that knee up towards the ceiling. I'm bending that bottom leg slightly because you're going to have it bent on the pole. I'm then going to push this ankle towards the ceiling. I'm going to roll the shoulder back and try and lift a little bit more, okay? So you can understand that positioning, and you can obviously do both sides. Of course, stretching is going to be super beneficial. So for a warm-up, you want to make it quite dynamic. So what I mean by that is keep moving. You don't really want to do static stretches as a warm-up, okay? So warm-up, just keep on moving to be able to stretch. So we want to take the arm back, and it's also twisting. So it'd be really helpful if we do some twisting movements. So what we can do is we can come down, so we start in the shoulder position. You can have slight bends in your knees, as we haven't really worn the hamstrings up at this time. And I'm going to take one hand to the opposite side, so towards the opposite shin or ankle, and I'm turning my body towards the ceiling, and I'm going to do a big circle with that arm. So up, and I'm going to look for the fingers. I'm going to bring it back down, back up, down, back up, down, back up, down. So you can do about 10 of these. Just going to do equals to the other side, up and down. Good stuff. Okay, makes sense. So we've also got to be pushing that foot into our hands. So another way to actually work on that again is you can kneel on the floor. So you're going to be feeling it in the quads. So what we can do is we can come down to the floor. If you've done this exercise before, it's quite tricky. So we're going to have your feet or knees hip width apart with the pelvis under there. And we're going to push those feet into the floor, push the shins down. So what we're going to do is we're going to lean back, squeeze them up. But we're going to push the feet down. So we're going to go as low as you can go. And push, 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 push. And you're going to feel those quads activate. It's such a burner. Whatever you do, you don't want to pick your butt back. Okay? So you want to try and keep everything straight. As we start leaning back, stop, push, 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 push back with your feet. Yeah? Does that make sense? Of course, we're lifting the leg. So actually working and stretching your hip flexors is going to be helpful to you. So we can always come into a lunge. There's a lot going on in this move, yeah? It's a whole body stretch warm-up that is needed. So I'm going through this really super quickly. So hopefully when you know, like I said before, when you know what you're going to be doing in your training session, you'll know how to warm up, because you'll know the elements that you need to warm up. Does that make sense? With this one, you're definitely going to need a whole body. So we're going to take one leg forwards, and we're going to tuck the pelvis under. We're squeezing that booty, and then we're pushing that hip down. So we're not arching to the back, just to target the hip flexors. So here, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And just like I just did with pushing my feet foot down the floor, we'll do the same here. So we'll push, 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 push. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You should not only feel your butt working, but you should feel that lengthening through the front of the thigh into your hip flexors. So we'll squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then see if you can wiggle that front foot out a little bit more, see if you can get a little bit deeper without using the back end stage. Push, 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 keep pushing that back foot down, and you should feel that intensity become more intense. Squeeze, and let's do the same on the other side. You've got it, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Keep that pelvis tucked under, remember, pushing that hip nice and low. And if you feel good, you can work that front foot out. See if you get any lower, keep pushing that back foot into the floor. Fabulous, okay? And of course you can work on doing that more times. You can do it to rep, do it to time, to increase that flexibility. So the other thing that we obviously need to do is that extension of the arm needs to go back, okay? So we're lifting the leg up. So what we can do is we can come down onto the floor. I'm going to lift my butt up, taking my butt towards my heels if I can. I'm going to lift that chest bone up nice and high. You can do it again, go out, lift, okay? You can release, lift, release, lift. Make sure you are lifting through the chest bone and not putting too much pressure through the elbows. Okay, can you see how I'm trying to target each of the areas that this move is working? Yeah, makes sense? Awesome. And then it is quite back bendy. So what we can do is we can come down onto the floor and we can do a very similar position. So I'm going to bring one leg up, heel towards my butt, opposite hand's going to reach onto that ankle. And again, I'm going to drive the knee up as high as I can and then push that leg away. Now, if you're super bendy, I am not, as you can tell, you will probably have your leg quite straight. I'm not. If you want to try and straighten it, you can work the hand further down onto the shin. Better grasp, lift up again, try and push even higher as much as you can, okay? And then of course make sure that you do both sides, so lifting the other leg, heel towards your back, You've got it, lifting that knee up nice and high, extending that leg as high as you can, okay? Does this make sense so far? Are we all good? Is anyone here? Anyone got any questions so far? Just let me know, right? So now we've kind of warmed ourselves up, stretched out into these moves and understand where our body's going, we can get on the pole and do it, right? So if you've never done this move before, obviously prep for it on the floor, and then we can prep for it on the pole, but with the foot still on the floor. So that's what I would recommend first, so that you understand how you move, right? So now you've done that warm stretch, let's get back. Calf on the front, shin behind. I'm going to keep the hips away. My hand is staying really low by my hips. If it's too high, you're going to get stuck. So you want this bottom hand around hip level. So from here, hip level, this is going to allow me to fully extend, and then I'm going to sweep that arm around, okay? And I'm keeping everything back. So I'm not leaning forwards here, like I do for some moves. I'm driving back and squeeze that arm come, okay? I'm going to try and roll and lift the chest if I can. So the front leg is coming off, lifting that leg, holding onto the ankle. You can bring that knee up nice and high, just like I did on the floor, try and extend it. And only if you feel comfortable, you can then release the hand. Otherwise, just keep it on. Yeah? And of course, you can work with holding that, breathing through it. So rather than just getting in as high as you can and come straight back down, see if you can hold for 3 to 5 seconds and then build up to holding for 10 seconds. Does this make sense? Right? Cool. Hopefully we're good with this. So now we've got that from the floor, let's take it up the pole. So we're going to go into a climb, well, not necessarily a climb, just a step up. So I'm pushing with the shin, pulling with the calf, okay? I'm keeping my hips behind the pole. So I'm going to do it this side, so it's not going to look great, but it's going to allow you to see what's going on, okay? So, like so, I'm keeping down. So my hand is low, okay? I'm going to lean over, I'm going to take my hand off, and then squeeze that inner arm onto the pole. Then from here, I'm going to lift the front leg up. So I'm pulling with that bottom hand. Lift, 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 grab onto the ankle. Lift the knee as high as you can. Push, 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 push. If you feel good, you can extend. Grab back on, slowly release. Place the calf on the front. Hand back around, come back down. Okay? Now, what I will recommend, which I didn't do when I first started, when I did the demo, is make sure, rather than just having the whole shin on like this, is you actually just take the foot slightly over. So rather than here, have it here. So you can actively push the shin a little bit more. And you're going to find that the leg's not going to slip off, or it shouldn't do anyway. So that's just my little tip for you. Good so far? Okay, so I'm just going to turn the angle to Instagrammers. Hey guys, how you doing? Cool. Probably ruin it now. Okay. So taking it, doing it exactly the same, but at this angle so you can see. So we're gonna, if you want to do it, if you're doing it with me, great. So we're gonna breathe through it. We're gonna aim 5-second hold as much as we can. So let's go. Pushing with the shin, making sure that foot's going straight over. One hand up, calf on the front, pulling in, but I'm keeping my hips away. Hand comes around, you've got it. Front leg comes off, lift that leg, try and grab, lift, 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 lift. Push, 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 push. Okay, slowly release, right back on, hand back around. Yeah? Does that make sense? Should we do it one more time this side? So I'll show you this angle. Okay, so the more times you do it, this is why practice is so important. The better it gets, like the more you'll understand it, and because you practice, the more warmer you are. So it's going to look even better. Okay, so chin, calf, let's get around, let's lift, let's grab, let's extend, keep push, 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 push with that chest if you can, extend if you feel good. Hand back on, calf back on, back around, step down. Okay, does this make sense? Okay, so that is your D for dart. If you've never given it a go, give it a go. See what happens. See where you're at with it, even from on the floor. Yeah. Anyway, have a wonderful day. That is me done for Mission 500 D Day. Okay, so see you tomorrow for E. And hopefully you can join me live. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, night, evening, afternoon. Bye.